living like a stage. Hey, hey, 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 love yourself first, explicitly. You owe it to yourself to move with that energy. Empower your self-esteem. Self-love is king. That's the only way to win. That's how you empower your dreams. Living like a stage. Hey, hey, living like a stage. Hey, hey, living like a stage. Hey, hey, living like a stage. Hey, hey.
Hey y'all, happy Saturday in the hallway. How is everybody doing? It seems like it has been forever since we have gone live, and actually it has. And y'all see, I got my grill, brand new look. This is my first time seeing myself in the camera, so I'm probably going to be staring at myself the entire time. Wallace, you want to say what's up before I
Good morning, everyone. Thank you guys for spending your Saturday morning with us. We're hoping this is going to be an ongoing situation. We finally found a day that kind of works for both of our schedules and everything like that. And so we're going to continue in this new Saturday morning venture. I think it's going to be very beneficial for us and hopefully beneficial for you too, those that choose to join us in the hallway. And we're excited about it and looking forward to visiting with you guys each and every Saturday morning.
Yeah, and we're going to play around with the times to see what works better, because I know Saturdays can be really busy for some people, but Saturday mornings are usually the most chill for Wallace and I. So we were like, you know what, let's just try Saturday mornings, because what we want to do and what we know is so important as we are growing this tribe is consistency. And so as we've tried different dates and different times, we haven't been able to be consistent because we are full-time entrepreneurs. And so when we were trying the Mondays, the Tuesdays, the Thursdays, there were always some kind of meeting, some kind of event, something that was popping up that was keeping us from being able to show up the way we wanted to. So we're going to see, we know Saturday mornings work well for us, and we'll see what works well for y'all. Because Wallace was saying we need to do it 8 o'clock Saturday morning. And I was like, now what now? But maybe we do. We'll just see. But anyway, welcome. And we are glad to be back. And today we wanted to talk about emotional intelligence, because that's something that we talk about all the time in business. And we just really want people to realize how the importance of honing in on your emotional intelligence and developing those soft skills. It's not just about entrepreneurship and business. It's something that should carry over into every aspect of your life, right? There is not a situation, not a relationship that cannot benefit from emotional intelligence. And for those of you who might be like, well, what is emotional intelligence? Because it's something we hear a lot in those buzzwords and people say them, but not often do people actually give you the definition. So emotional intelligence is like that emotional thermometer, that thing internally that lets you kind of check yourself and regulate your emotions and kind of know, okay, I'm getting really upset now. Maybe it's time for me to table this conversation until later. But it also is that inner thermometer that lets you check and regulate the emotions of other people, right? Because we have to realize that everybody is not on our level emotionally. So if you have done the work to really be able to hone in on your emotions, that doesn't mean that the person you're communicating is at that same level. So you can, with them, be able to see, okay, I feel like you're triggered right now. I feel like you're really upset right now. Let's just table this conversation for later. So that's really what emotional intelligence is, being able to pick up on and regulate your emotions, right?
Right. It's just so we can all get on the same page and everything like that, because like she said, not everyone's at the same level. And sometimes you got to have those relationships that balance each other out. You know, we were, I think we may get into this a little later. We've been watching a binge watching a few relationship type shows.
Yes. So like what, Married at First Sight and Love is Blind.
America and UK.
Yes. We have been watching them all, and we've learned some things.
Yeah. And some things that we want to kind of point out to people that kind of will help, build a stronger relationships, like the title of this is Foundations for Lasting Love. But there's certain things you got to have in place. And I think always one of the biggest deals is in this emotional intelligence journey and building these relationships is you can never take yourself too seriously. Never be at a point where, you can't be able to move the needle one way or another in support of your spouse or your partner, or trying to figure out where they're at. When you draw these hard lines on certain things and you're worried about losing yourself, then I'm just like this all the time is, what better person for me to lose myself in, and what would come about change who I am than for my partner, because she's worth it. And that's going to make me better, make her better, make us have a better relationship. Then that's the thing you got to remember: the relationship, the marriage, everything is bigger than the both of us. And when we keep that in mind, I think you can willing to dial back some stuff and say, you know what, this is for us.
Right.
And stop being so selfish in certain situations.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. And one thing that I've really recognized, and we've talked about a lot, and Wallace agrees, is that sometimes, as much as you want to make sure that when you're entering into relationships, that you're making the best possible decision for yourself, you don't want to go into it blindly. But one of the reasons why I love Love is Blind is because it lets you kind of let your guard down and not have to think about so much of the exterior and external things. Because I think the reason why a lot of relationships don't work is because people make it way harder than it needs to be. Yeah. People overthink it, overanalyze it. They have these different lists. Like, people go into, hey, Deborah, people go into relationships looking for a reason not to be in the relationship. Yeah. That's how I feel. It's like you're always looking for those red flags. And again, the buzzwords, like, what even is a red flag? Like, there are certain things that, of course, you have your non-negotiables. And if someone just does not check like your moral compass and things like that, okay. But when it comes to the things that really are kind of small in the grand scheme of things, it's like, why are you even thinking about that? And then you also have to look at yourself. What red flags could you possibly be displaying? Because nobody is perfect. And I definitely believe in like the 80-20 rule and things like that. But it's just not necessary to go into the relationship with this magnifying glass, with this microscope, just trying to see what's wrong. Okay, well, they said this to me. That's not good. I don't like the tone they used here, so that's not good. Oh, they, are on their phone too much. That's not too good. Quit looking for reasons to be out of the relationship. And I know that a lot of people do that because of fear, right? You don't want to be hurt. You don't want to look stupid. You don't want anybody getting over on you. But that's not true love. That's more of an interview, right? Mm-hmm. And what you really should be doing is trying to get to know a person so that a lot of those little things won't even bother you if you really, truly get to know the person.
And I think also, if you have to really have those conversations, when we talk about, someone on their phone or something like that, you got to remember, when you first meet somebody, they are who they are at that particular time. That doesn't mean they can't change. Mm-hmm. They won't change anything, because that's who they were. If they were single in that situation in their life and been single for a while, or had some other situations, they're into their own, guess what? Single routine. That's what they're going to be doing. That's what everything's kind of based around, centered around who they are. But that's why you can't come into it in the beginning of, hey, they're doing this too much. They're doing this too much. They're doing this too much, because they're doing what they've been doing. Same thing with you. You've been doing what you've been doing. So nobody's going to come into a perfect. But guess what? You sit and you have those conversations. And when you have those conversations, there are certain things that can be dialed back. And that's why I said you can never go into, oh, I got a hard line and I want to do this and do that. You got to be willing to compromise, and say, oh, you're doing this. And like we talk about, the going out every weekend with the friends was a big topic. We saw that came up one, someone on there want to continue to go out all the time. Is it really necessary that you go out every single weekend? Spend time with your spouse, spend time with your partner, getting to know each other. Because like I said, there's no one I'd rather hang with than her. I have some friends, things like that, cousins and things like that. We may go out once every few months or occasionally something, but there's no one I'd rather be with. And guess why it's like that? Because I choose to be with her, and I found out the things in her are exactly what I want and what I need in my life. My friends, they're there, kind of help me out sometimes, but they're not. I don't need to see them every day or every weekend or anything like that. We text occasionally and things like that. Some of my best friends, guess what, live in other states. People I text more with live in other states, because it's just how a friendship goes and how life goes sometimes. But those people that draw this line, I need this time. I need this time. Well, we got a question is, why do you need this time? Is because you don't want to give up who you are, or you feeling, or you think that's just what I need to do.
Right.
And you sitting there and you evaluate this stuff, you find out it's not really that serious in what you need to do, because you can find everything. If this is the right partner for you, you can find everything that you need in that partner.
We had some people jump on. Hey, Nisi Pooh. What's up, Lacey J? Hey, Tampa. Thank you for joining us. Hey, Nick. Good to see you. Good morning. Yeah, we got our mimosas, y'all. We figured, we set the little tone for the day. But you know what? This is the thing, too, that I see with setting that foundation for lasting love is you have to, and Wallace kind of touched on it, is we go into relationships a lot wanting to change the other person, wanting that person to be able to conform to our ways, when it's give and take. There are things about you that needs to change. One of my pet peeves is when people say, well, that's just how I am. When you say that's just how I am, all I hear is I want to keep behaving poorly and I don't want anybody to call me out on it. That's all that means, because there's always that ability to change. And when you find the right person, you're going to be more than happy to change those things. And making changes, like when people are like, I just feel like they want me to change who I am. No, in life, in order to progress, there needs to be change. Without change, there is no growth. Like there are certain things about me that I changed specifically to be able to be a better partner to Wallace. But I noticed as I made those changes, I was also being a better me to me. There were certain things and certain habits and certain mindsets that I had that weren't conducive to a happy relationship. And a happy relationship is going to make me a better me. So as you're entering into these relationships, you have to first of all decide, do I truly want a relationship? And that sometimes is the thing, because you think you want a relationship, but maybe you just want somebody to hang out with. Maybe you just want somebody to call every once in a while when you need an escort to an event. Maybe you just want somebody, to hang out with during the holidays, but you don't necessarily want a relationship, because those are different things. And that's something that we even ran into in ministry, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of churches want a preacher. They don't want a pastor. Those are two different things. They want somebody who's going to come in and just preach the word, make them feel good, whatever. But when it comes down to saying, these are different things that we need to do as far as the business of the church, the finance of the church, the way we show up in the community, they don't want to hear that. So that means you don't want a pastor, you want a preacher, which is the same thing as, do you want a companion, somebody just to kick it with, or do you want to be in a relationship? Because there's a lot more bending, but don't always look at it for like, oh, I'm changing for them, I have to be different for them. No, it's different for the collective. Like our kids have this thing now that they say every time they do something, and we're like, why are y'all doing that? Oh, we're doing it for the good. The good of what? The good of the family. That everything they do is for the good of the family, right? And so that's our little running joke. But you have to realize, as you make changes in yourself, you're not doing it for them. You're doing it for the good of the relationship.
You got to remember, and like we kind of said earlier, relationship you and single you, relationship them and single them are different people. And there's going to be change. Like I said, you can't change. It can't be growth with no change. So there's going to be different things that you have to give up, or you have to change up. And it's not changing who you are, because really it could be, like she said, making you a better you for you. Because being single me, I thought differently about finances and things like that. Married me, relationship Wallace, things completely different on a lot of stuff. Like, okay, I can't buy this pair of shoes, so I'll save up and buy it instead of buying it today. I can't go buy this car right now. I need to save up and buy it. I can't be as impulsive. Relationship with married Wallace can't be as impulsive as single Wallace was, put it that way. Mm-hmm. And that's just the thing you got to be thinking of. And that makes me better overall. And I wish really, I had been that mindset before. I would have been, things would have been different, but you think differently because you are changing, you're growing, you're getting older. So guess what? It's a good thing. Change is good. And I know a lot of people resist to it when it's become a relationship, because they feel like they're giving up their identity and giving stuff like that. You're becoming a better you is what it all boils down to. And you're becoming better you overall for your partner and for yourself. And for your children, when
Yeah,
children are
your future
involved.
family or your family you have now, being able to show that good role model, that representation of what a healthy relationship looks like. I know for a lot of women, the biggest thing they don't want to give up is their independence, right? Like, I don't want anybody telling me what to do. I can handle this by myself. I don't need whatever. But the thing is, how great is it to have that built-in venting board, that built-in brainstormer, that built-in collaborative force? Like, it's not necessarily asking for permission. It's not necessarily losing your independence, but we all say it. Teamwork makes the dream work. So you have to have the emotional intelligence to realize that I'm not losing my independence because I consider someone else's opinion and wanting to be a leader. Like, one of the biggest things about being an effective leader is being able to know how to collaborate, is being able to know how to take someone else's opinion, is being able to know how to receive feedback without getting defensive. That's the word I'm looking for. So all of those things are a part of being in a relationship, right? You have to be a team. And that's what I love about what we do, and how, even though we have our business, ISAL, Institute for Success and Leadership Training, and we go to corporations and we go to organizations and we teach all these things like collaboration, teamwork, effective communication, active listening. But then our other part is about relationships, right? In the hallway. And guess what? We still teach collaboration, effective communication, teamwork, active listening, because they matter in every aspect of your life. And sometimes people put more into their business and their corporate life, and they've really gotten and mastered those skills, but then they don't bring those same skills home. They know how to collaborate on the job, but they don't know how to collaborate at home. They know how to be a team player and an effective team member at the job, but then they don't know how to do it at home, when you should be able to do it in every aspect of your life. Let's see, Lacey J, y'all, these braces, I'm like, I'm cracking up at myself.
I got a question for you.
This is the most I have talked since I had the braces too. Lacey J says, I literally just had that conversation with someone. I realized people don't understand. Yeah, I forgot it's been so long since I've been on the live. I literally just had this conversation with someone. I realized people don't understand how to merge the two together, but also they don't know how to take care of themselves in a relationship either. Yeah, and that is a true thing. That's something that I kind of suffered from in the very beginning of our relationship. It's also something that I just saw when I was watching one of those reality shows. If y'all haven't watched the Love is Blind and Married at First Sight, at first, because I'm not a big reality show person, I thought it was going to be junk TV. But if you're interested in the inner workings of a relationship and just how people think and whatever, it's worth the watch. It really is, because it truly is an experiment. And so, I say to watch them. But people do kind of overthink it on the opposite end, where they can lose themselves in a relationship. And so for me, for instance, let me just share my story with that. I was married before. Most of y'all know that. When I was married before, I was very much that independent woman. I don't need a man. That he's more just like an accessory, like get in where you fit in. If you want to be with me, what? That's how I felt. It's just like, okay, a
arm
family,
candy?
Not arm, no, it wasn't arm candy, but anyway, but it was just like an accessory, an add on to my life, get in where you fit in type of thing. But I'm still going to do things my way. I'm still going on a girls trip every other month. I'm still going back home to visit and stay in for 2 weeks. I'm buying whatever I want to buy, my house, my money, my kids, my. And that's how I was. And I ended up getting divorced. I realized what I did wrong. Now, not to say that my ex-husband was flawless, because our divorce, truth be told, was way more his fault than mine, because I didn't do anything to break the marital vows. But that's a different topic for a different day. However, even though I could have walked away from that marriage and blamed it 100% on him, I still wanted to see how I could do better, because I realized that I had shortcomings in my marriage. And so before I entertained another serious relationship, I wanted to do the work on me, because what I realized is being so independent, being so strong, being so forceful, being so aggressive was exhausting in my marriage, because I ended up having, instead of just 3 sons, I had 4 sons, because he started to actually depend on me to be the independent one, to be the head of the household. And that was exhausting. So I needed to find harmony. I needed to learn how to embrace my femininity. I needed to learn how to embrace a softer life. I needed to learn how to really respect a man, but I also realized it has to be the right man. But there was a lot of things that I had to do to embrace that softer side of me. However, I went from one end of the spectrum to the other, because when I first married Wallace, even though in the beginning of our relationship, in our courtship, I was very much me. I very much was independent. And those are the things that attracted him to me, because we weren't dating in the beginning. So I wasn't even thinking about a relationship, right? So he got regular stay. But once he proposed and we got married, I got scared. And I'm like, okay, I have to change the way I show up, because last time I was married, I was too independent. I was too aggressive. I was too assertive. And so then I went all the way to the other end. So like for the first year and a half of our marriage, I was like, whatever you like, whatever you like. I don't know. We can do whatever you want to do. It's up to you. I was washing his clothes. I was fixing his plate. I was vacuuming the floors. And if y'all know anything about me, I love to cook, and that's it as far as the house. I don't like to clean up. I don't like to wash clothes. I don't like to do any of that stuff, even though I do what I need to do. But I turned into a full-blown homemaker. I was an entrepreneur at the time. I didn't know if he really appreciated me as an entrepreneur. I thought maybe he looked at it like I didn't work. So it was really important for me to be proven to him all the time. Oh, I make money. I'm doing stuff. Oh, and I cleaned the house, and I did this. And he was like, what is wrong with you? Like, this is not how you were when we were dating. And I had to explain to him, I'm just trying to find my way, because I know in my last marriage, a lot of things got derailed because of how strong I was. And so I started being way too soft, but I don't like that. And he's like, well, I don't like it either. And so I had to find harmony. So you do have to be careful. I know that was a long-winded story, but you have to be careful. We got some comments. Oh, thank you, Sean. Thank you. And Wallace has a lot to say.
Yes.
Go ahead.
But I have a question for you, because you mentioned before you started that part of what you were saying, when we talked about, I don't want, somebody saying, I don't want someone to telling me what to do. Mm-hmm. Do I tell you what to do?
Sometimes, but not in a forceful way. I mean, you give me your opinion.
Do you tell me what to do?
Sometimes.
Right. So that goes both ways. So we're talking about somebody telling what to do. It's not someone ordering somebody around. It's just about, we're just asking different stuff, and we talk about how in relationships or in business wise, how people go, teamwork and collaboration, things like that. Everybody has different things they're good at your job. Some people are good at doing reports. Some people are good at, setting the meetings up. Some people are good at doing different things. Let me find a location. Some people is good at different stuff. And same thing happens in relationships. Somebody's good at bills. Somebody's good at going out and doing other things. Somebody's good at repairing stuff around the house, or make sure the house is taken care of. So that's where the teamwork and collaboration part that comes in. And that's just a matter of finding where you're happy at. So it's not a matter of telling someone what to do. It's just that we just how we work as a family and how we work taking care of each other. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. It's about collaboration. And that's what I mean. And the thing is, I know a lot of people, are big into not wanting gender roles anymore or whatever. I really don't even know what that means. Like, I believe in certain gender roles because I decided to change my mindset on what a marriage means to me and what a relationship means to me. Like, there was a time in my past life, in my former life, where the concept of a submissive wife would have been like a kryptonite to me. But now I understand it, because I've explained it several times. When there's only 2 people, somebody has to be a tiebreaker. And so that's how I look at it in our marriage, and using my emotional intelligence to realize that if we concede to Wallace's way, I'm not shutting down who I am. He hears me out. But if we have 2 different opinions, there has to be a tiebreaker. And since there's only two of us, then the tie is always going to be broken by him. But the thing is, if you're with the right person, you're not going to come to very many scenarios where that's even an issue, because we're on the same page 99% of the time.
Because she says that, it boils down to me, but really it boils down to whoever really feels the strongest about it. If you really feel this way, because I yield a lot of stuff, say, well, hey, boo, is that what you want to do? I'm cool with it. And it's just a matter of doing that. And that doesn't change my masculinity. That doesn't change anything like that. That just a matter of we're doing what's best for the family. And hey, things kind of happen like that. And it's how we kind of go in life, and back to that overthinking thing. And that's one of the biggest things that came out of us watching, Love is Blind and 90 Day Fiance and the different, the UK one. It's a good one too. So I don't know why I can point out. But I think the overthinking comes in when people are talking about losing themselves. And when you really break it down, you're not losing yourself. You're becoming stronger because we're stronger together. That's just the bottom line. I don't care what nobody says. We're stronger together. And you're not losing yourself. You're becoming better. I hate to do it like this when we talk about, going back to the old cartoons and Voltron and those. Remember how they were all like 5 different color cats or robots or something? And then they would all come together and they'd just be one big gigantic robot. They were stronger together. And that's really what that was, just teaching kids and things like that about collaboration, things like that. And I think as adults, we get so caught up into me, myself, and I, we forget about that aspect of, hey, I am stronger with somebody versus me being by myself. And that's why we talk about collaboration and teamwork and things like that. And the same principle that apply at your job, apply in your marriage when it comes to those things. And I don't know, and people just seem to lose that, and you overthinking stuff like, I don't want to give this up. I don't want to give that up. There really is, why don't you want to give it up? Hanging out late at night. Why don't you want to give it up? Because there's nothing good that comes out being out late at night. I won't get into that. What my grandmother and them used to tell me about.
Everybody already knows.
Everybody. So we're not going to get into that. But that's so true. Power Rangers. There we go. No, just like that too. But if you get into things like that, it's about being better for yourself and making those better choices. I can tell you like now, I can't hang out late at night anymore. My mind, my body, it doesn't do that. Last time we tried to do a flight, and we decided we had an early morning flight, like a 5 o'clock flight to going out of the country. And we came with the bright idea, hey, we're going to stay up all night and we'll just sleep on the plane.
We had to be to the airport at like 3 a.m.
That was the most horrible day we've ever had on vacation, because like we could not get enough rest to get called back up. I can't hang late at night anymore. Don't drink like that anymore. Can't do those things because the next day just becomes so horrible. So guess what? We're changing for the better. I can't say, I never say it to myself, Wallace, you're losing your identity. You used to hang out all night and drink all night and do all this other stuff. You're losing your identity. No, it's not good for me anymore, because I'm at I think you termed my big age now. Yeah. It's not good for me. Change is good. And a lot of times it's for the better. Trust me.
And I think a lot of times when people are overthinking relationships or overthinking, like, this is something that I realized, watching, the different shows, is people think about what other people are going to think too much as well. You're in a relationship wondering what other people are going to think. What are people going to think if I deal with this? What are people going to think if I stay in this relationship? What are people going to think if I'm dating this guy who is 6 inches shorter than me? What are people going to think if I'm dating this woman who's not in my race? What are people going to think if I decide to date this man who has 2 kids? Like, quit thinking about what other people think, because 9 times out of 10, the people who are going to have something judgmental to say about your relationship, the people who are going to give you the advice not to be in a relationship, are one of 2 kinds of people. They're either people who are single and not happy being single, or they're in a relationship and they're unhappy in their relationship. Because people who are in a relationship and they are truly happy in their relationship, they're going to tell you the kind of things that we're telling you. If it's good for you, don't worry about anybody else. If you're not having an issue with this, don't worry about anybody else. People who are in happy relationships are going to encourage happy relationships. Now, if you are being mistreated, that's completely different. But those little frivolous things about how much money somebody makes, how many kids they have, just whatever type of background they have, those things don't mean anything at the end of the day. What you are doing is potentially picking someone to spend the rest of your life with.
What's that other crazy show you got me watching?
Oh, Love After Lockup.
Yeah, that's the caveat. Don't do what they do on that show. That makes no sense.
I have really just been trying to take a deep dive into the dynamics of different types of relationships.
Those people all need counseling. They need therapy, counseling, therapy. Put every other thing you can put in. They need it because their minds are not in the right place. And I'm not sure how those
Love
people
After
got
Lockup is crazy. Now, there are like 2 couples that I've seen on Love After Lockup where...
Not saying you can't find love.
Yeah. That they end up being pretty decent couples. And that's one thing too, like I've said, especially at our big age, do not necessarily overlook that man who got a felony when he was 18. Now, I will go to my grave and say that. Now, I'm not saying everybody who got a felony at 18 is now a great person, but I'm saying if this man got a felony when he was 18 and has been unable to really get a corporate position, but he's been able to do something entrepreneurial and he is doing his best. I mean, that is just, especially for our Black men, could just be so detrimental to future lives. Things that happen when you were way younger. There are things that
don't build relationships while they still in jail.
No, not while they still
men
in
or
jail.
Women. Don't try to build those relationships.
I mean, when you talk about meeting your representative, oh my gosh, those people like Wallace says, of course they're gonna say the right things. They ain't got nothing but time. So yeah, don't build a relationship when they're behind bars. But I'm saying if you meet a guy or a woman and that's a part of their past and they're upfront with you with that, but they are living a decent, upstanding, law-abiding life now, don't let that deter you because we all made mistakes. And there's probably some of y'all out there who committed felonies when y'all was 18. You just didn't get caught. I'm just saying.
We won't dive into that.
I'm just saying.
But like I say, don't build a relationship. Since we're on that little Love After Lockup?
Yeah, I can't even believe you brought it up.
The thing I say on that type stuff is when someone's locked down like that, it's like this is all I can eat every day is a bowl of oatmeal. But when you get out of that, my options are very limited. When you're in that, my options are very limited. But when they come out of that, their options are wide open because guess what? Just think about the first time.
They got the buffet.
They got a buffet. Think about the first time you went to a buffet. You're like, man, all this food. That's what it's like when they first get out of prison or get out of lockup or something. It's like, I got all these women. I got all these men. I got all these other options. Why am I just with this one person? And that's why they all sitting there talking about, oh, we need to get married now. We need to get married now. That is not a good thing. Do not base your relationship on those situations with those people. Allow them to be out.
Yeah,
let them get out.
Let them sample the buffet.
And then build your relationship if you're gonna build a relationship. But don't hang your hat on that it's when they get out they're just gonna come and be with me only. Yeah, there are all those one-offs. But for the vast majority, that's not a good situation. That's not a good way to do your dating pool.
Viewers are
I'm just throwing it out there.
Dating prisoners. I mean,
it's always that one.
Yeah, that's what it is. I don't know who need to hear this.
I don't know who need to hear this, but
stop dating that prisoner and wait until
why they in there.
Yeah, wait until they get out and also give them a chance to acclimate to life, because again, just about everybody in prison says that they're going to do better when they get out, but give them that chance to acclimate to life. Hey, CC.
CC, what does that even mean?
Nothing like a man. Girl, I don't even want to know what CC means because I think I know what CC means.
Yeah, I know what she means.
And the thing is, maybe. Maybe because you don't know what they be doing in there. So you do have to, kind of weigh that out. But what I'm saying is, to me, that's a little thing. It can be a little thing.
But you want to try and build authentic relationships. And like I said, situation like that, that's not an authentic relationship. Being out, being able to meet someone and talk to someone and build that relationship. That's why we talk about Love is Blind and the Married at First Sight, those things, those experiments, why they label as experiments, just trying to see how those things work out and how people are just based off of certain things that people put out there. So you got to look at those things and say, all right, am I willing to change for this particular individual? Someone I relied on somebody else to match me with this person, for his Married at First Sight. I relied on people. This is what they based off of what I say I was looking for. And that's what it's saying. I think because they talk about they feel like almost Married at First Sight. I think they feel like 200 questionnaire.
200
question questionnaire. Yeah. And they kind of go through those. And I still always go back to, are people being young, their honest selves on those situations when they answer those questions, because they go through that And then when they meet and they're with that person, then they're going to find out, oh, well, that's a little bit more than what I want to deal with.
Yeah.
You know, because it's just only certain things that the human mind and emotions and hearts can take. Because, you know, and I kind of go back to this question a lot of times, do people really know what love is?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think a lot of people know what love is. They just associate it with a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not love. You know, that's not love. And I think that's what the biggest question is. Do you really know what love is? Well, that's all. I want to know what love is.
Don't say that's not your ministry. But another thing too, I think a lot of times people don't even know what they really want. Like sometimes people struggle with even knowing themselves. And so it takes them being in a relationship. So you can sit there and answer this questionnaire and you think this is what you don't want or what you do want, but you realize throughout the relationship that you didn't even really know what you wanted. And so you can't be afraid as a couple either to grow together and learn things. People can bring out things in you that you didn't even realize that you had issue with, or they can bring out things in you that you didn't even realize you really enjoyed about yourself. And so you have to give relationships time, but just don't overthink it. Like, I feel like if it feels right, if you feel heard, if you feel respected most of the time, then it is worth the work. And I feel like you need to keep your relationships private longer. Get a chance to know somebody before you're bringing them around other people. And not because, oh, it might not work and now it's like they're not around. It's just that you don't need that outside chatter. Trust yourself enough to know that you're going to make the right decision. By the time you're introducing somebody to family and friends, you should already be secure in that. Don't depend on your mama and your best friend and your cousin to tell you whether somebody is right for you. Already give the relationship time for you to be secure in that, so that other people's chatter doesn't cloud your view. Because at the end of the day, that's your person. And in a perfect world, our friends and our family are going to love our spouse. But if they don't, that's the person that you're choosing. And that's the biggest thing. And Wallace and I have been talking about that a lot as we've been watching those shows. You have to make the choice. Like, I every day make the decision to choose Wallace. And I don't know what Wallace I'm going to get from day to day. He doesn't know what stay he's going to get from day to day, just because we're human. We have different moods. We have our own individual lives. Even though we're very much a couple, there's still things that happen with me that he's not involved in, and vice versa. And you're going to have your bad moods and you're going to have your bad days. And there's going to be the days when he's a little snippy and days when I'm a little sassy, but we choose each other every single day. That choice has to be unconditional. You talk about unconditional love. It's also the unconditional choice that no matter what, I'm choosing Wallace, and no matter what, he's choosing me.
That's what it is. And but you know, we got to say that we don't know which one you're going to get, but there's got to be a caveat with that, because it's going to be the consistency still that I know she loves me and she knows I love her, and we know we're in this together. That's the consistency part of, is that the love is there, the camaraderie there, the friendship is there. And that I would touch on that, come back to the friendship part. But the consistency of knowing, I know she loves me. I know we love each other. And I know we're here for the greater good of each other. And that's just what it's about. And when you have that, and you know that, so when you're having those days where someone's a little snippy, a little sad, someone's in a bad mood, someone's just not feeling their best that day, or someone's a little irritated about something, those things are going to happen. That just happens in life. Mm-hmm. But when you have the consistency of, I know she loves me, I know, and she's willing to do what she needs to do for me, and I'm willing to do what I need to do for her, then that's going to help everything continue to move on and continue to build and be stronger. You know, and like I tell all the time, my love for her grows day by day, hour by hour, you know, no matter the situation. Her little things that kind of upset me some days, those things just make me love her even more, you know. And so that's just what it is, because that's her, you know, and I love her.
And you get to know somebody. And I think one of the things is, and Lisa J touched on it with, you know, the triggers. Yeah. And triggers are a real thing, but you learn somebody's triggers, but you also have to share your triggers. And so don't just walk around being upset, being triggered by things, and not sharing that with your significant other, because sometimes things that trigger you nobody would even realize that that is a trigger. And I know Wallace and I have had that happen on my end where he said something that seems like, and I wish I could think of an example because something happened not too long ago where he said something that was like the most basic thing, but it took me back to something from childhood where I was just like, I know, I just don't like that, you know, because it takes me, and he had no idea. And so what happens is instead of becoming defensive, instead of being off put by people's triggers, instead of feeling like, oh, that's too much, become their soft place to fall. Learn how to embrace that and know that you have your own junk too. Instead of feeling like, dang, you too much, or that triggers you, or everything triggers you, why not be there to discuss it with them, to help them overcome it? And I think a lot of times that's what it is. We have all our stuff, and then we want somebody who doesn't have any stuff, but we want them to accept all our stuff. But then as soon as one of their things rear its ugly head, it's like, oh, that's too much. Because one of the guys, or I think on 2 different shows, the guy said, you know, I just feel like being in a relationship with this person would just be exhausting because they have so many triggers. And it's like, why think of it that way instead of just thinking about how can I help you with that? And then being realistic about the fact that you're going to have some crap too. And you're going to want somebody to be there with you through your crap. And, you know, it's just about creating that safe place. And I know that that is definitely a buzz phrase these days, but there is something to that. When I know that me, the good, the bad, the ugly, even if it gets on Wallace's nerves, even if he's over it in the moment, I don't have to guess whether he's going to continue to show up. And the more he shows up, the more it is easier for me to let go of some of those things because I have a safe place.
Right. And like saying that's kind of dealing with baggage is what we, you know, in a better term, we label it. We talk about triggers. This really kind of falls in the category of baggage is really what it is. And, you know, that's the thing about it. Everybody has their baggage. Everybody has their things, you know, whether it's you having designer bags, whether you got Louis Vuitton or Samsonite or a
Walmart bag.
Walmart bag. Yeah. Bunch of little bags, all the stuff. Bag lady, you know, that's kind of what Erykah Badu was talking about in that song. Everybody has their baggage, male, female, but it's about how you don't put that baggage on someone else. And a lot of times you got to sit there and evaluate these bags that I'm carrying around. Are they helping anybody? Are they helping me? You know, are they doing anything? Are they making me better? No, a lot of these bags we're carrying around is not good for anybody. And we need to let it go. And we have trouble when we take that baggage into other relationships. You don't have any room for anything new in a relationship because you got all this baggage with you already. You know, you got to let a lot of that stuff go, and you can't put that on somebody else because now you're upset with him or her based on something else that someone else did to you many years ago. And this person has no idea what you're even talking about. And because this situation is turned into what it is, now you're putting this on that person, and that person didn't get the respect to know, hey, what's going on or why we're even doing this.
Right.
Because now I'm arguing from a place I have no problem. I'm in an argument now, and I have no idea where it is coming from. So it's kind of hard for me to even do it. So that's why a lot of people just end up shutting down a lot of times. Like, I don't know exactly what's going on now. So I'm just going to just bag out and just let you do what you got to do and let you deal with it. And now you're saying, well, now you don't understand me. Well, I didn't understand what was going on in the first place. Now I got pulled into something that I have no idea what I even did.
Bleeding on somebody who didn't cut you. Thank you, Resilient Dad, for that super chat. Thank you, tapping in from the Bay. We got to visit the Bay one day. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. That is awesome of you. I appreciate you. Let's see. Lisa J said, very true. I'm learning that by living with someone for the first time, conversations and being truly honest with them and yourself has been very helpful. Yeah. I mean, and that's the beauty of a relationship, right? Why keep all that stuff inside when you got somebody that you can talk to about it and share and help you work through it? And it's funny, as he was talking about baggage, I was thinking about like a real life scenario with us that, you know, doesn't really have anything to do with our emotional state of baggage, but maybe it does. When Wallace and I first got together, we, from the very beginning of our relationship, traveled a lot. Almost like from day one, we start traveling together. And when we first start traveling, we used to take a lot of luggage with us, a lot of luggage. Oh, yeah. And in the very beginning, I was able to travel non-ref through a friend of mine who had me on for their buddy passes. And so I didn't have to worry about how much luggage I took because everything was at a very minimal cost. And so we used to take a lot of luggage, like sometimes 2 suitcases a piece and a backpack and whatever. But over time, now we're down to just taking a carry-on a piece. And that just triggered in my mind that so much like a relationship, when you really sell out to your relationship and you have trust in your relationship and you create a safe space for each other,
that's real good.
You can go from carrying all this baggage to just getting it down to a carry-on. And it's funny because that is how it went with us. In the very beginning, we both had a lot of luggage. Then we started taking less luggage. Then we went to the fact where we could just both pack in one big suitcase and put both of our things in there together. Right.
Come on, Doc.
And then it got to the point where it wasn't that big of a deal. We could each just carry our own small bag. And that is how the relationships should go, where you can come in with a whole lot, but if you create that safe space and if you're open and honest and you use your emotional intelligence and soft skills, the luggage, the baggage can get less and less and less, and it shouldn't grow. This relationship hasn't added to my luggage. This relationship hasn't added to my baggage. This relationship has compacted my baggage, because you're always going to have something, right?
Because it's really just boiled down to the necessities. Because I'm a witness to this, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys are, if you really think about it hard. You pack all this stuff to go on these trips. How many times you end up bringing back outfits that you never even wore, you never even tried? So you carried all this extra. You carried all these extra baggage. You carried all these extra items with you that you thought you was going to need, and you didn't need them at all. Yeah, and that's what happens. We didn't even need that, because I used to come back with 3 or 4 outfits I didn't even put on. But guess what? I needed a big suitcase. Well, I thought I needed a big suitcase because, I want to have all this extra stuff. So now we've gotten smarter and more wiser with how we travel and things like that. And I didn't need all that extra stuff. Now I take just what I need and maybe one extra just in case something happens. But that's all I need. But before, I was carrying 3 or 4 or 5 different extra outfits, just in case outfits. And I really didn't even need that.
Right. And that's the thing. We carry all this baggage holding on to things that happened to us in the past. And it's like, what do you need that for? It's not serving you. And that's the same thing. If it's not serving you, why are you carrying it? And those shows, Resilient Dad, there are. And I think any TV is going to be a little bit scripted, because of course they want to make sure it's entertaining. They want to make sure that there's a plot, but it's still just like the only other reality show that I watch consistently is Big Brother. Because again, I feel like it's the most realistic you can get in reality. But yeah, there are some good scenarios, some little life lessons and nuggets that, because I think it's as close as you can get to reality. I know, right? I know. We coming up with a little something here. We definitely are doing a little preaching today. Which said I just did that when I went to Cancun. Still tags on it. Yeah, we overthink it, and that's
the other thing. He's talking about tags still on it. That's what we start saying. We have so much stuff that we've bought through the years just for trips, and we would only wear it on trips if it got worn off. So we agree now, when we travel, don't buy any extra stuff.
We shop in the closet.
Because I'm buying stuff to take on a trip to show people that never seen what I got already.
And you know what triggered that thought? Somebody put it on Facebook and stepped on my toes, because I saw somebody say, why do we always go out to buy new clothes to go on a trip when the people that we're going to see never saw our old stuff? But I have to admit, for me, one of my things is social media. And I'm big on social media. I'm always on social media taking pictures. So in my head, I'm like, well, I can't keep showing up with the same thing on all the time. But then I had to realize, who am I trying to impress? I'm not a supermodel. Ain't nobody paying me to have a different outfit on every time I show up on social media. And so I had to get out of my own head. We also go to a lot of galas and after 5 events, and they used to always get me in my head, like I have to find something to wear. But now what I do is, I know I'm going to have those things coming up. So if I see something, even if I don't have an event and it's a good price, I buy it now. So then when the event comes, I can just go to my closet and grab something, and I'm not all stressed out. Let me see. My wife was like, don't wear that shirt. You always wear that. Literally.
That's it, man. That is
it. Right. Oh my goodness. But it's so funny how there are so many things we do in life and at work and in relationships that we can just carry into all different aspects of our life, because we're the same person everywhere we go. It's just how we decide to show up.
But my father in the ministry shared something with me many years ago. And as I've gotten older, it's is coming more and more true every day. You never have youth and wisdom at the same time. You never, as you get older, you get wiser. So your youth kind of fades away. But if you're smart with it, you can still remain youthful, but your wisdom has to come into play with that. And you never have youth and wisdom at the same time. And like I said, it's funny, we're making more money now, but we're finding ways to cut back to save more. Mm-hmm. And it seemed like at the young part, we spent more when we're making less. Mm-hmm. And that wasn't smart. We should have been saving. So we had that same mindset all through life. Is that just about saving and putting away, because it's not the fact that you can't go buy new clothes and things like this. Like kind of what ARD was saying. Why do I need to go buy something new when they haven't seen this all year? Mm-hmm. And most times people don't remember what you had on last time unless you bring the picture like, oh, remember this what we had last time? Right. So what, big deal? You know, everybody has their favorite shirt.
Because people aren't paying as much attention to us as we think they are. No. That's the funny thing. Like, you're not as big of a deal as you think you are. People don't really care because they're too busy thinking about them and what they're doing. I wanted to get to, I know I had put it on the screen, but I didn't address it. Lacey J was saying baggage, or security blankets. And that's the thing. I think a lot of times it's hard for us to hold on. I mean, it's easy for us to hold on to our baggage because it gives us excuses, right? If I hold on to this baggage of what I've been through in the past, what was done to me in the past, what I experienced in the past, then that gives me an excuse to behave poorly if anything like that shows up again. I can say, I do this because I said this because. And so it does become a security blanket, but in a negative way. It keeps us from changing because now we have made ourselves professional victims, so to speak. I can act like this because this happened to me. I can do this. And so now we're building a relationship where we're expecting someone to cater to our insecurities rather than to help us grow past our insecurities. I need you to coddle me and not say this and not be yourself and not do these things because I have all this stuff I'm bringing with me, when really it takes a lot more courage to just let those things go and say, you know what, this did happen to me, but did in the past. That person did do this to me, but did in the past, and then move on to the future. And don't use that as a security blanket, because the only thing that is keeping you secure in is that victim mode. I am confident that I'm a victim. I am confident that these things happen to me, and I'm confident that I can behave in a certain way because these things happen. Hey, Miss Gwen, thank you so much for tuning in. I love when I see you pop up. Let me see. The crazy thing is, we'll wear something. Someone brought me back from vacation more than I used to wear something I brought back. And I stopped doing that too. I don't even get anything. I stopped getting the kids something every single time I go. I do things now, like wherever I travel, I buy an ornament for my Christmas tree, because I know for a fact every Christmas that's going to go under, because y'all have no idea how many t-shirts I have from different places that I've never worn. Never. And then my grandkids, I don't never see them in them t-shirts that I bought them. Ain't nobody wearing that stuff. Professional victims is profound on that. When you reprogram your mind, you find that you can live a new life. Oh, thank you so much. We appreciate that. Yeah, that professional victim role, some people really dwell in that. And it's like, why do you feel so comfortable being there? But like I said, I think it just gives people an excuse to behave badly. I can lash out because this happened to me. And, you know, I made it through this and that, so I can do that. Oh, I wanted to read Miss Gwen's comment. Yeah, you don't handle that part. There is no acceptable explanation for bad behavior, whether it is legally bad, morally bad, or ethically bad. I agree. You cannot say I did this because if it's wrong, it's wrong. You can't just go around acting crazy and treating people any kind of way or doing things. You can't say I stole because I was hungry. You can't say I robbed that bank because I had no money. You can't say I treated this person bad because somebody else. Wrong is wrong. No matter who does it, no matter what your reason, it's done. Oh, keychains and yeah, my daughter-in-law collects keychains, so I do buy her a keychain all the time. But those t-shirts, I'm like, why? I mean, you just be so into the vacation. It's like, you know, I love Istanbul, you know, but do you really think about that when you come home? It's like, you just, t-shirts are emotional, I think. They are. And
the last thing, and that, you know, one of the last things we want to touch on, we talked about friendship.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you wanted to mention that earlier.
Friendship between us, that is key. And what I found out with her, the friendship would stay, and the things that we have going on in our relationship that replaces, and I hate to say it like this, but it's kind of the truth. It replaces a lot of those other friendships that I had, because I find so much of what I need in her. I don't really need all those other friends in my life. Now, that's not changed who I are. I'm not saying that changed who my friends are, but that changes how we interact and why we can spend so much time together and not get on each other's nerves or things like that. Why I would rather hang out with her versus hanging out with a lot of my friends and stuff like that. I love my friends. When we get together, we text each other, we talk about games, things like that. But I don't have that need anymore to want to go hang out with them every weekend. And they don't have that need anymore because they're in relationships, because they're finding things in their partners and their spouses and things like that. Say, hey, this is how I want to move now. And it's just such a better vibe between us and between me and my friends. I mean, it doesn't change anything. Now, when we get together, it's like like people have seen anybody in a reunion sometimes, because we all get together and we just pick up from where we left off before. And it didn't change necessarily. I didn't lose my identity by not hanging with my friends or anything like that. Like I say, it increased better my value, who I am, and my wisdom and stuff like that with my friends, because now when we get together and we talk about different stuff, a lot of times we talk about relationship stuff now. Mm-hmm. It's not about all the other stuff. We have grown men conversation. That's just kind of how it goes. And I can sit here and say this with all my heart and everything in me. She is my best friend. She's my business partner. She's my wife. She's my lover.
You are crazy.
She is my best friend.
We do everything together. And people think that's so crazy. But there's a couple of things I wanted to touch on as far as the friendship. We built a friendship first. We had no idea that we were going to be in a romantic relationship. And even if your goal in the beginning of meeting somebody is a romantic relationship, work on building that friendship first. Like, just do things, go to Top Golf together, have long conversations, share stories with each other, talk a lot in the beginning of a relationship, talk a lot. He used to interview me in the beginning of the relationship and just ask me all kind of crazy questions, but he really got a chance to know me. And you can make it lighthearted. It doesn't always have to be serious, but just talk a lot. Like, don't go on a lot of dates where you're going to movies and going to plays. Do things that are interactive. Do things that are going to make you laugh and still have to engage. Like, go bowling. Do those kind of things, because it really helps. I mean, when you're going somewhere and it's like, we're just going to sit and watch a movie, you're not having that chance to engage. And even with going out to dinner, sometimes it's a little stuffy or whatever. Do things where you can let your hair down. Go to a picnic, go to a park, go bike riding, do things like that, and talk a lot. It's just really important to talk. That's how you truly get to know somebody. Build that friendship, because what happens is, and I'm not saying that you don't want to have other friends, just like Wallace said, but I know for me, is like the girls' trips and different things like that. It's hard for me to do them sometimes, because especially if it's something new that I've never done, he's who I want to experience it with. So if somebody asks me to go somewhere and I've never been before and he's never been, I'm like, well, I want to do that, but I want to do it with Wallace. So it's just, and it's a great thing. It is. Let me see. ARD said, Mr. Wallace, another great point. I found me taking inventory of my friends to understand what's needed, because time is different when you have a family compared to when you didn't.
Yes.
Absolutely. Hey, Ladybug, thank you so much for tuning in. Hallelujah, I made it. Hey, how are you, Miss T? Let's see. She's saying hi to everybody and listen to what the other person is saying. Really listen. Yes, active listening. Active listening means listening to understand rather than listening to respond, giving somebody 100% of your attention, not listening while you're scrolling on your phone, not listening while you're sending an email, not listening while you're watching TV, actually listening, and listening with your entire body, meaning that I'm not distracted by anything. I'm giving you eye contact. I am giving feedback, as in I hear you, I understand, nodding your head, but not necessarily interjecting or interrupting, letting people get their entire thought out. That's how you learn people, because we communicate in different ways, and somebody can say one sentence and boom, already we've assumed what they're going to say, when really they're not saying that at all. But because they use words different or communicate differently, that's how we took it. But if you would let them get the whole thing out, you would realize, because there's been times with Wallace and I where we've both done that in the beginning of our relationship, where you'll say one thing and it's like, see, da 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 da, and then you're like, that's not even what I was trying to say.
Because people are listening to respond, not listening to understand.
Exactly. Or you're anticipating what they're going to say based on what you would say or how you feel. So people are like, I already knew what you was going to say, but did you though? You didn't. You assumed, and we all know what they say about assuming. So we don't want to do that. So thank you so much, Ms. Gwen, for that, because we talk about effective communication, and that's twofold. When people talk about communication, they really usually just think about talking, which that is a part of effective communication. And your communication is only effective when the other person is receiving the information and perceiving it the way that you intended. Mm-hmm. Because if you're saying something and they're not picking up what you're putting down, then that's not effective communication. But the other part and most important part of effective communication is listening. You learn so much. And I know it sounds cliche or silly, but you have one mouth and two ears for a reason.
Yeah.
We should be listening way more than we talk. And the way that I learn things and the way that I'm able to do the things that I do, even in my job with iSalt, is because I listen and I see where there's holes in people's communication, and I see why there's not collaboration in certain organizations. Before I go into an organization, a lot of times, and do my sessions and do my coaching, I go and observe. I ask, well, can I come to one of your meetings and just kind of sit in the corner and listen to see how you all communicate, to see how you all collaborate? Because everybody, I have certain cookie cutter sessions where I can come in and just tell you about the importance of teamwork, but it's so much more authentic when I get to see it firsthand and see how the groups go together. It just makes a lot of sense. And you may notice this if you ever go to couples counseling. A lot of times your first couple of sessions, that counselor is just going to throw something out there and just let y'all talk. And they're going to listen to how you all communicate so that they're able to really hone in on where you may need some assistance.
You know, I just had a little thought here, and it could be the mimosa talking this morning. But the Bible talks about us. Where'd I put those two things?
Yeah,
together?
mimosa in the Bible. Mm-hmm.
But the Bible also always be observant. Always be observant. Always be observant. So I mean, we should always be looking, listening, sensing what's going on. And we're only supposed to put out so much information because we're supposed to be taking in more than we're putting out. 2 eyes, 2 ears, one nose, but 2 nostrils, but it's 2 there, but only 1 mouth. So we really should be taking in more than what we're putting out. And too many times we're trying to put our stuff on other people instead of listening to what they have going on and trying to get to know them and understanding and observing what's going on around us. But we're more interested in putting out or downloading or trying to make sure they understand us. We should be trying to understand them. And that way, when we understand them, that helps us respond better. And we're not just machine gunning everything. We're actually taking our time and saying the things that need to be said.
And listening to the other person can help you learn yourself too.
Yeah, it does.
You know what I mean? Because if I listen to Wallace, especially if it's a concern or something that he has about me, he could notice something about me that I didn't even realize, or maybe it's something I need to tweak because that's his perception, but I care about him enough where it's like, okay, I heard you. And now I get it. I need to do this differently because if I keep doing it the same way I've been doing it, what do they say? That's insanity. So if I want a different result from him, then I need to hear from him how he's perceiving what I'm saying and what I'm doing. And because I love him, I don't have a problem tweaking that because my main goal is for him to receive the information that I'm giving him the correct way. And Cece says she's guilty of listening to understand, but that's half of the listening to respond. And sometimes that's just our defense mechanism. But like they say, realizing that we have an issue is half the battle. So it's like you realize that you're guilty of it. You said it. So now you just have to work on it. And that's the part, like I say, my triple A, y'all know my triple A. So now you're on the point where you need to take accountability and take action. Resilient Dad said you have to feel heard and understood before speaking. So when you do speak, it's an engagement and not a one-sided feeling. Yeah, because you don't want things to be, a conversation should flow and not be this combative, like back and forth, because then nothing ever gets resolved. And the thing is, it doesn't even necessarily have to be an argument. Like some people are just bad listeners no matter what. They're just like, oh, yeah. Oh, that's what and they don't even understand. Just work on being a good listener.
Yeah. And we do, I promise you, if you do more listening and talking, it'll make you a whole lot better person, and your relationships will be a lot better, business-wise, personal-wise, parenting-wise.
Yeah, listen
better
to your
friend,
kids.
you know, if you're willing to do more listening than you are talking.
Yeah. And the thing is knowing when it's your turn. Like everything is not about you. Yeah. You know, sometimes it just let it be about the other person. And we do that too sometimes. You know, we have Stay Day, we have Wallace Day, and, you know, where it's just all about the other person. So, well, thank you for being here, Cece. And we're about to wrap it up too. Yeah. Our hour is up. We actually went over an hour, so we have to head off and finish our day. Y'all, some exciting news. The book covers came in today. I was so excited. For those of you who don't know, I have written and completed book number 4. The pre-sales will start on Black Friday, where you can get the books for 10% off. I have the book signing coming up January 17th, where we're also going to be doing a meet and greet. So any of you who are interested in coming to the big old state of Texas, to the Fort Worth area, it's going to be an amazing weekend starting on, I think, that Thursday, the 16th. We're going to be doing some karaoke. The 17th is the book signing and meet and greet. And then I have the women's conference, New Year, New You, which is going to be an all-day event on that Saturday. And then on Monday is the Cowboys of Colors Rodeo at Dickies Arena, where yours truly will be singing both the national anthem and the Negro national anthem. So it is a lot going on in January, but I was so excited when my book cover designer emailed me this morning with the book cover. Oh my gosh. They emailed it to me this morning at like 5 o'clock this morning. And so I saw it as soon as I woke up, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And they always send me a couple of different designs to choose from. And what I love and hate about my book designer is it is always difficult to pick. Like there's always one where I'm like, okay, I know I don't want this one. But then there's like 4 more where, oh my gosh, I love every single one of them. So I'm thinking about maybe doing a poll on social media and letting you all help me decide which book cover. But I'm super excited about it. This book is called Dispelling the Myth of the Angry Black Woman. We are not angry, we're mad. Misunderstood, accused, and devalued. And this book is for Black women to feel supported and heard and know that you're not alone. We all have a lot of those same experiences in love, in business, in parental relationships. And it's also for anybody, and more so for anybody who is just interested in learning more about the plight of the Black woman and our daily struggles, even in this day and time. The Black woman is the most undervalued and devalued species on the earth, in my opinion. And so anybody who is just curious and interested and wants to be of support and just learn about us a little bit more, that is who I encourage to pick up the copy of the book. So it is going to be up for pre-sale.
Exciting times.
Starting on Black Friday. So I'm super excited about that. And then there'll be more information on the meet and greet and all that jazz, but I'll continue to mention that every time we show up. Just so you guys can get ready for January. So I'm super excited. I think it's like January 16th through the 20th. Yes, Miss Gwen. Yes, absolutely. And that's the thing. And there's so many people miss out on the excellence of Black women by falling too much into those myths and stereotypes and whatever that don't define us at all. As a matter of fact, they're not true and have been very harmful to us over centuries. So so I'm excited about that. Hope to see you all at the book signing to get your signed copy. If you decide to get one for pre-sale, it'll be signed when it comes to you, but that doesn't mean that you can't still join us at the book signing. And then Wallace and I are going to continue to show up on Saturdays. Like I said, the only thing we might tweak is the time, but this time seemed to work pretty good, but we'll see in the weeks to come. And if y'all want to drop in the comments or anything and let us know, what you think about this time, we're always open to that as well. So we appreciate and love each and every one of you. We thank you so much for being here. And as always, you know the drill.
Thank you for spending your Saturday morning in cartoon time and cereal time with us.
Is there even still Saturday morning cartoons?
I think, I don't think they come on like they used to on the regular stuff.
Because they have so many channels now dedicated to it. So.
Y'all miss those Saturday morning cartoons?
I never watched them. Y'all know I was never a kid for real. So, thank you, Deborah.
But thank you guys for starting your Saturday morning out with us. And we look forward to this continued. And like I said, thank you guys once again for support. And congratulations to My Cup of Cake on the book. And it's going to be exciting. And I encourage everyone to please, when it drops, get a copy. And it's something that's makes a great gift. It's a holiday time, makes a great gift, great read. It's a great discussion piece too.
It is and, a nice coffee table book.
Yeah, it's not just for, and we talked about this. It wasn't really just for our African-American friends. I think our Caucasian friends need it too. And everyone needs it because, the black woman is very misunderstood and needs to be more appreciated and valued. And that's what it's about, making sure you understand the value of it. And I think it's a great read for everyone.
Well, thank you, babe.
Sure, babe.
All right, y'all. Always be kind and love one another, but never forget to live your life. LYFE. And we'll see you next time in
The Hallway.
Bye, y'all.
Living like a stage. Hey, hey. 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 Love yourself first, explicitly. You overtook yourself to move with that energy. Empower your self-esteem. Self-love is king. That's the only way to win. That's how you